All right, well, I guess we'll get started because it's 10:35 and people can just join if they can. I'm April Sullivan with ArtSpark Texas. Welcome to our Texas Veterans Strong virtual networking meeting. We meet once a month on the second Thursday of the month and try to gather veterans who are interested in the arts, also veteran organizations, arts organizations, any combination of all of that. People interested in trying to find ways to work with veterans in the arts. And I've been away the last two meetings, so I wasn't here for April or May. Thank you, Denise, for running the meeting. I missed everybody, but I watched the recordings, so that was good. I got to see what I missed. And I was gonna catch everybody up on what we've been up to at ArtSpark first, and then we'll go around and everybody can, just introduce yourself, say a little bit about what you've got going on, and then our kind of guest speaker is Kelley McRae to tell us about her songwriting workshop she has coming up. So for ArtSpark, we actually just got, if you're on our email list, which I think most of you are, we've just got some funding, so that's really nice. Creative Forces from the National Endowment for the Arts has given us some funding for the year to run some different programs. So I know that we had a couple months ago, maybe it was end of last year, my boss Celia Hughes came on the meeting for a little bit just to see who all was here and who was interested in partnering. So we have written some of you into the grant for helping, like Betsy. We've written that we want to come to the VA and we want to come to Dallas and do something with you. So we need to
Awesome.
kind of work out some details on that. Yeah. And Rachel Mims with the Veteran Art Therapy, we've been talking to her. She's actually going to be teaching a workshop for us actually this tomorrow, Friday, with the VA in Waco. We're going to be doing a women veteran. I think it's specifically for the RISE program. The VA is in charge of getting all the participants. I think there's going to be about 30 women coming to Black Rifle Coffee Company in Waco. We're going to do a painting project while they drink coffee. So that should be fun. We're also hoping to work with Maria Hernandez in Amarillo. Again, she just did a horseback riding event on last weekend, Saturday. Yeah, I was there. I went to Amarillo and rode a horse. It was really fun. And so we're going to hopefully go back to Amarillo because she's got a really vibrant community that she's been working with out there in the arts. They have this great art institute. She took me on a tour of it, and there's a lot of veteran artists working out of that space. It's an old mall that was converted into art galleries and studios. It's really cool.
Oh man.
So, huh.
Well, that's what I keep saying Austin needs.
Yeah,
That
and you're
would be
not the first one
great.
to say it. Remember that old Albertsons that was in South Austin? There's that's near Wayne Canyon. It was turned into a art studio space. It was really neat, but I
Really?
don't know what happened to it.
Oh, it's not there anymore.
I don't think so.
Oh,
I don't think so. Let's see what else. Oh, we've been one of our next big things we're working on is a week-long paper making workshop. We're bringing in Drew Matot with the Peace Paper Project. He does these veteran paper workshops and using like old military uniforms and cutting those up and turning them into paper pulp and making paper out of them. And so we're working with him on that. He's coming in September. Let me see the dates. I think it's like the second week in September. He'll be here the whole week. And so we're trying to figure out the timing of if people were to come to that, say a Tuesday through a Saturday. You're not required to come every day, but you get the most out of it if you did. But you can catch up or you can get back in the loop if you miss a day. So we were thinking like either 4 to 6 or 6 to 8, sometime in the late afternoon or early evening. I don't know I know it's terrible traffic coming to Austin for those of you who are in the Austin area. Um, that's where it'll be, is in our space, which is in Central East Austin. So if anybody has any thoughts on a good time of day to do that, that you'd be willing to come, let me know if you're
You know,
interested in that.
it's
Because that's what
traffic
we're
all
trying.
the time, April.
It is
There's
traffic all the time.
There just is. It almost doesn't matter what. I mean, I was surprised at midnight one time driving through Austin, and any other place you'd think it was rush hour. I'm like, at midnight? Come on. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I'm interested. Not that anybody
Okay,
else.
good. I think you'd be interested. Yeah. So that's what I've got. And then we also got another grant from Peace, Love, Happiness Foundation. They just randomly reached out to us and gave us some money. It's the guy from the um, Paul Mitchell Hair Products. He lives here locally and gives out money to different nonprofits. So I thought that was really cool. And he's wanted to support veterans in the arts. So I don't know what we'll do with that specifically, but I'm sure Celia has something in mind. It'll get sucked right into the system, right?
April, I have a question because I've been to a few meetings, but it's still Art Spark is still new to me. And you receive grant money, but is there ever like an annual fundraiser so that the Austin community turns out for something that benefits Art Spark?
There have been, we're not great at those. But we have our annual Artist of the Year awards that we're kind of trying to turn into that sort of thing. So we give out an award every year, and it's open for nominations. You can self-nominate, or it can be somebody can nominate you. So we have, and actually, there's more than one award. There's the Artist of the Year. There's the Spark Award. There's Creative Aging Award for older adults. There's Media Arts Award. There's like 5 of them. None of them are veteran specific, but veterans are in our community, so we a lot of times honor veterans. It's mostly for artists with disabilities. But like our winner last year, Mario Lopez, was given the Artist of the Year award for his work that he's been doing in the community for veteran artists. So that we have a big event in September where we give the award winners their awards, and it's kind of a small fundraiser. We ask for people to support us at that. But other than that, that's about all we have.
Oh, that sounds like a lot. I didn't even mean veteran specific. I just meant as an organization for all of your programs. If there was an open house where people come in and okay.
All right, well, let's go around and everybody introduce yourself. We can start with you, Betsy, since we've been talking. People like, who's Betsy?
My name is Betsy. Elizabeth, but everyone calls me Betsy, and I'm a social worker at the Dallas VA. I've been with the Dallas VA for just over a year, but with the VA for about 5 years as a social worker, and I am affiliated with the suicide prevention team. So my coworkers are on the phone with veterans who have been flagged as high risk, trying to get them engaged in care. The VA in the past few years developed another arm of suicide prevention where people like myself are out in the community finding ways to offer suicide prevention materials or education, not necessarily to enroll anyone in the VA. I'm not here to try and persuade anybody to use the VA if they don't want to. But that's just like the VA, it gets them outside and engaged with other people instead of being this sort of fortress for, veterans and who don't use services. So, and I found this meeting and it's interesting and worthwhile. So I show up.
Yeah, thank you. All right, let's hear from maybe some of the new people on here. David, you want to introduce yourself?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Um, I'm not sure my Zoom is working correctly. Can I be seen?
We hear you, but now we don't see you.
Okay. How about now?
Now
Yeah.
we see and
Yes.
hear you.
Okay.
Hello.
My name is David James, and I'm a disabled combat veteran. And I am new to Art Spark. Um, my therapist at Kerrville Medical Center said that she wanted to introduce me into this program. I have an art background. I was a professional photographer for many years, and can't do much with that anymore because of my physical challenges, which have grown worse. But um, I still continue to do the best that I can and try to live each day accordingly. And I'm happy to be here. And I don't know exactly what all this program will offer and what all I can contribute. And that's a big thing because I really want to contribute and to be a part of things. And so we'll see how it all works out. But the one thing that I had talked with April about, and that is being able to enter the Distinguished Veterans Artist or vet, Distinguished Artist Veterans um,
Yeah, interesting name. Yeah.
exhibition here. And so I am gearing up for that. And but I would like to be involved in many other things as well. And I look forward to it.
So do you live in Kerrville?
I live in Fredericksburg. My wife and I live in Fredericksburg.
Okay. Well, yeah, welcome. Yeah, and David mentioned our Distinguished Artist Veterans exhibit. It's in its 15th year. It's our annual veteran art exhibit, and so I know Dina here is interested in entering. Denise usually enters. Carol, Pam enter work from her group, and so it's happening at the Dougherty Art Center in Austin this year. We try to move it around every year to a different city, so David, if you have any contacts in Fredericksburg for galleries that might be interested in hosting it, we're always looking for the future years of where we're going to host it. And I like to
I'll,
move it to the
yeah, I'll
cities
be
where you all are at so we can, feature new artists in those areas as well.
excellent. I'll be on the lookout.
Okay. Um, Dina, do you want to introduce yourself since you're
Yeah,
here? If you're
and I apologize for popping in so late. I may, depending, you already know why I may have to leave, but I wanted to get in here. But I'm Dina. I'm down in Buda, and which is south of Austin. A lot of people have never heard of it, but that's where I am. I'm a vet. I'm an artist. I am a studio vocalist, musician. I try and do a lot of things, but I also have to contend with, quite frankly, health issues. I'm a disabled veteran, and I have some pretty significant PTSD, the combat PTSD. So I tend to stay tucked into my little niche of the world pretty tightly.
And you said that we've been talking by email that you're trying to get some Zentangle classes over at the VA outpatient clinic.
Yeah, my counselor over there, she kind of really went to bat for it. And it looks like that, they needed to get some of my old paperwork cranked up again so that I could be an official volunteer for them over there. But I'm kind of excited about it because the first test of that workshop is going to be coming up, I think, on the 25th of this month, where she's taking, I believe it's 15 vets, females, to someplace in like Arizona or something, like out in the middle of nowhere, old barracks, to do a retreat. And I'm going to do the Zentangle workshop for them via Zoom for
Oh, wow.
for their retreat. So
That's cool.
yeah, I'm excited about that. And then if we can get it going, then and get all my paperwork cleared and have me back into the volunteer program, then I'll be able to do in-person workshops there at the Austin Outpatient Clinic, and where people can kind of get together, because I think getting together is really important, especially if you're an isolationist, which I am. So forcing myself out and around people will be really good.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, let's hear from Megan.
Hi, everybody. My name is Megan Scoggins, and I just moved back to Houston 14 days ago. So I got out of the Army back in 07, and like it seems like a common thread here, also faced some health challenges, started moving more and more into the artistic world around 2017, 2018. I'm a singer-songwriter as well. I don't perform, I just do it for fun. I do a lot of stuff that I would say leans more toward the crafting side. I've got a laser cutter and do things like that. But I'm also a fluid artist. So I do quite a few pieces. I pulled one up. I don't know if you can see it very well.
Yep.
But that's one of the pieces that I did. This was a commission that I did, kind of a mixed media piece.
Nice.
And you know, being back in Houston, want to get more involved and just start creating again. But I can't do that yet because we're still in an Airbnb. We don't have a house yet. But you know, I like all forms of art. I like being creative and finding ways to express things that you might not be able to say.
Yeah. And there is a group in Houston that sometimes joins us here. It's called Artists in Arms. Have you heard of them?
I have not.
It's a veteran art group in Houston. So you should check them out. Artists in Arms. Yeah. Well, welcome. Okay, Pam. We can't hear you, Pam. I think you're still muted.
Sorry about that. One of the co-founders of the Artemis group of women veteran artists. We're opening our June-July exhibit at La Pena Gallery on Congress Avenue at 3rd. If any of you are free and in Austin on Saturday, come and join us. I was interested to hear about Megan's Zen Tango, because one of our late members, who was a World War II naval veteran, was a great promoter of her Zen Tango with wonderful works. And we're honoring her in the exhibit. I've done a sort of posthumous wall to her to honor her and her work. Anyway, we've had a bit of a fragmented year with people coming and going and having sort of various family crises and so on, but we're hanging in there, and the artwork looks absolutely stunning. So I do hope those of you who are in the Austin area can come and join us on Saturday night. Congress
what
at
time?
3rd, 6 to 8 p.m. And we've got a lovely array of food as well. So
July 3rd?
enjoy art and food. June 15th.
No, this Saturday.
This Saturday.
Yeah, this Saturday.
This Saturday.
Oh, and yes, this Saturday, June 15th. And by the way, April, absolutely 100 congratulations for getting that fabulous grant and having that event last Thursday. I bumped into Doreen from the Carver, and she said it was phenomenal. So all the more power and praise to you and to Denise. Thank you very much indeed. And it's wonderful that you've got the grant. That's all
Yeah.
to do with your work.
Thank you. Yeah. So for the grant, we had a press conference at our office. The chairwoman for the NEA came, and the director of the Mid-America Arts Alliance, some of the funders, they came. So that was really nice. It was supposed to be a press conference. We didn't have any press there, but it was still fun. We had a good time.
Thanks for sharing on your
each other.
website. Yeah, thanks for sharing on your update as well. That was very exciting.
Yeah. Okay, Carol.
Hey, well, I'm a prolific artist working in all different mediums, but now I'm finally writing a book. I have 27,000 words done.
Amazing.
Yeah. So,
Is it about your art process?
actually, it's in response to a book that has bothered me forever every time I heard its name mentioned, and it got me fired up. And I realize how much I love writing. And so I think I'll finally do the things I need to do to, maybe document my processes and stuff in the future. But the book that you may have heard of is Steal Like an Artist. And every time I hear it, it makes me upset because it says in the book that that's how you learn to become an artist, steal every chance you get. And it just really, really bothered me always. And so somebody said, well, no, it's not like that. Read the book. And I read the book and I got more fired up. And I start explaining how, and nothing's original and stuff like that. And you guys, have seen my work and all that. It's impossible to write or to produce anything original. And everybody just copies. And I'm like, you know what? All the way back to third grade, I wouldn't copy. And I won a contest because of it, because mine was the only one that was different, but it's a personal thing. Yes, you have art influences. I don't say you don't, but obviously I feel strongly about this. So anyway, boy, it sure wasn't hard, about 2,000 words a day. I just hit it.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah, so it makes me think, well, financially, how I always want to, well, actually, I want to leave Texas very badly. Um, and maybe this will be the way out. I don't know. Because his was a New York Times bestseller, and he is an Austin artist. Denise, do you know about the book?
I have heard of it. I have not read it.
Yeah.
Who's the artist who wrote
Not-
it?
Huh?
Who wrote it?
His name is Austin Kleon, and he's a UT graduate, I guess. There's not a lot to the book. My book is probably already 3 times what his is, and it's a series
Oh,
of
poetry.
random quotes that he gives to support his premise, which I don't agree with. And so therefore I'm writing. It's a good thing because it got me writing. So but
There you go.
that's what's happening with me, and just doing art as always, but I'm most interested in the group thing. I keep trying to tell the VA, you know, um, they can't fund to pay artists to teach, but the veterans, it's doing art with veterans is such a good thing, because what's most healing is when we share. And if you're in a group and you're looking at each other's faces and you're trying to share really difficult stuff, it's not going to happen. But if you're doing something else and you're getting into doing art, somebody will brave saying something and somebody else will chime in. And before you know it, you have a great discussion. It feels like a really safe community when veterans get together. And I keep trying to request, but they said, no, a practitioner has to be there. I'm like, okay, so put a practitioner there. And they're like, well, no, we have to be teaching something and it has to be limited to a certain number of weeks. And I'm like, oh my God. Okay. They say you can volunteer. And I'm like, I put my years in volunteering. I would like just a little something, for my efforts, but
Gas money.
something, yeah. Supplies, whatever.
Maria Brown Spence.
Yeah.
Pardon? It's
All right, Denise.
Yes,
That's
ma'am.
Denise under Spark, Texas.
Okay. Hello, I'm Denise Knable. For those of you who don't know me, I contract with ArtSpark Texas to help them with the veterans programming and events and everything. And I am a retired military Air Force and disabled veteran. And I've been with them, with ArtSpark, and working all kinds of programs and this latest grant and everything too for 15 years. So yeah, it was just after we had the first disabled veterans art exhibit. And I lived in San Antonio then, and I saw it in the paper, and the rest is history.
Awesome. Okay, April
Um,
Brown, you want to introduce?
And the
Oh, I'm
soldier,
sorry. I think there's
well, I
a
was going to
lag,
say,
sorry.
and so I just started a program with the Soldier Recovery Unit on Brooke Army Medical Center. And we're going into our third class next in watercolor. And exactly what you were saying, Carol, that is what happens. They start out kind of like, slow and
Shy.
everything. But once we get painting, it takes their mind off of other things, and just in like 10-15 minutes, everybody's talking and laughing and having a good time. So yes, it's very, very therapeutic and helpful.
It
Yeah.
feels really good to help
That's all.
someone, and it feels really good to be helped. And I don't think they realize it's much more
Mhm.
valuable than an instructor up there telling you something, because we probably know what we need to know, but what we need is healing, and that happens through each other. We're the best healers of each other. When is that, or where is that, Denise? Your class?
The Soldier Recovery Unit is on Brooke Army Medical Center. Is
Where's
each of
that?
the services has like a variation of it. It's in San Antonio.
Oh, okay.
Yep, it's in San Antonio.
Thank you.
So
All right,
you're welcome.
Dina, you were going to say something?
I was just going to say, but not everything has to be, and with the VA and with vets and stuff, and this was just a reaction that I had to something that was just said. Not everything has to be revelatory. I mean, it just
Right.
sometimes just and the VA dismisses it, but sometimes just the act of a social interaction of where you're not talking about anything. I'm not a group person, so I don't talk about. I mean, like my therapist, my counselor, they couldn't pull stuff out of me if they brought the Dallas Cowboys down to jerk it out of me. That's because that's my thing, and I don't talk about it. And they always kind of laugh, because I think one of the things that especially isolationists tend to do is we miss the interaction, but on a social level, but on a safe social level, where if I cuss, I mean, hey, that's what I do. I cuss, and if you're around people, or sometimes things can strike me, or sometimes I can trigger. And I don't jump up. Somebody asked me, they said, "What do you throw yourself under the table?" And I hate when people do that. And I just kind of like look at them and go, "No, ignorance will get me to do that." But I said, I just am hyper vigilant. My own nature is I'm hyper vigilant.
Yes.
And I said, so sometimes just being in a safe spot, being able to go over to the VA, and that's why I'm so excited that they're going to let me start doing the workshops over there, even as a volunteer, because I don't have a problem volunteering, because I'm working with my compatriots, and sometimes what they need, if the only way they get it is for somebody to volunteer to do it, I'll volunteer, because I know what it can offer. And sometimes just the option to get out of your head and into your hands in a place where you're safe, that if you're sitting there and you're laughing, or you want to be quiet, or if you want to just sit there, you can do that. And I think that's the cool thing about art, as long as people don't, there can be too much pressure if it has to be a learning class.
Yes.
That's what I like about Zentangling, is because I tell everybody, being able to do a straight line isn't a pro thing for Zentangle. I said, actually, you do better if you don't draw straight lines, because that's the whole process of it.
Right.
So it's like, it's the social connection too. Everything doesn't have to be clinical or therapeutic. Sometimes
Right.
just being is a great thing.
Yeah. All right, let's hear from April Brown. Introduce yourself for us.
Hi, thank you Sorry I was late. I had a multitask that came up at the last minute. Um, I'm April Brown. I'm a Marine veteran and actually connected with Art Spark. I think it's been a few years ago. You did a virtual arts conference with women veterans. I think it was called Healing Through the Arts or Connecting Women Veterans to the Arts. Really enjoyed the and really enjoyed that. And you know, life happens, so you don't get to reconnect. So I wanted to be in a place where I could be prompted to kind of think about the art experience that um the one, the connection. I agree, like with the social connection that day was really fabulous. But I attended one of the collage workshops and really enjoyed continuing that on my own. And then I also serve as the director for veteran services at Texas Christian University. And some of the ways that we've used art is through conversations and narratives and writing. And so about 10 years ago, some of our veterans were really struggling with transition on campus and were just having their own conversations in a safe space. There became interest about these conversations from a journalist. 6 years later, we formalized it over 6 years and actually published a book called Voices of America: Veterans and Military Families Tell Their Own Story. So much like what was being said earlier, that we didn't have an initiative of, oh, we want this to happen. We didn't want, um, we didn't embark out on it to be therapeutic, but the feedback was that was very therapeutic for many of our veterans. And because they had opened the door to their story, they also realized that they needed further support to heal. And so that was a nice outcome that was just really unexpected. I'll show you what the book looks like. And I'll
Nice.
put it in the chat as well.
April, I have to leave.
Okay. Bye,
Okay,
Gina.
explain to them. I'm not being rude. I've just got an emergency going
There's
on
two
right now.
Aprils. Wow.
Nice
Yeah,
talking to you.
Yeah, so we've used this as a way for people to engage with their own small circles, to like with their family members, to say, hey, read a passage and ask your family member, does anything resonate with them in that? And what they've told us is that sometimes a family member who's never talked about their service will say, what she said when she was sleeping in her coffin rack in the Navy, I felt that way too. And then they've had a deeper connection, especially some of the children who said, my mom or dad won't talk about their military service, or someone whose grandfather might be Vietnam era or even Korean War era says has never talked about it, but we start reading this book together and I learned so much more. And then last year, so about a year and a half ago, Women Veterans Alliance had a webinar about women veterans writing group. And I said, I'm gonna just take a chance and see what this is like to join other women and write. And so last June, on the 75th anniversary of Women Veterans Recognition Day, uh, Don Brotherton and Beth Johnson edited a book of stories from women veterans called Sisters in Arms. And so just the feedback and being able to process some things that weren't often talked about in other spaces was just very healing, in a sense of using art, literary arts and collage work. And so on campus, we're looking at doing some things with beadwork and quilt making, and then just creating these spaces where you're doing an activity, but you get to have this conversation around the activity. So that's kind of what I'm up to.
Where's Texas Christian University?
It's in Fort Worth, Texas.
Great.
So I connected, my daughter lives in Austin, so I kind of live two places at times. She's Oh, she's over a nonprofit called Hearts to Heal that supports grief and loss. And so I often
Oh,
serve as the military liaison for the work that she's doing to support others. And we talk a lot about loss being not just death, but leaving the military, your identity, leaving the military, if you were able-bodied and your body changes, leaving friends and family behind when you have to rotate, those are all forms of grief that sometimes civilian communities may not recognize in the same way.
Mhm.
yeah, so the event that you came to was probably our virtual Women Veterans Moving Forward Through the Arts. And we're going to host another one of those now that we have that funding. And Kelley McRae, who's here, was one of our speakers at that event and did a songwriting workshop. And so she's here to tell us about what she has coming up in terms of some songwriting workshops.
Thank you, April. Yeah, that was a beautiful day. So my name is Kelley McRae. I'm the executive director of a nonprofit called Songrise Arts, and we provide trauma-informed songwriting classes, mentorship, and recording experiences and some live performance experiences for underserved communities, primarily young adults who've been in systems like foster care, CPS, juvenile justice system, and women veterans. So we've done 2 programs now, one in collaboration with the Samaritan Center, one in collaboration with Texas Folklife, to do a workshop series. It's 4 consecutive Saturdays, and it's 3 hours, and we walk through what does it mean to gently access your story, safely access your story. And then over the course of our time together, as folks start to create lyrics, they have the opportunity to either write a song on their own with the skills that we sort of lay out. You don't have to have previous experience as a songwriter, or you can work one-on-one with a professional songwriter who will, work with you and collaborate with you to write the song. And so folks have they can record using an online platform that we provide, or we have professional songwriters who record the songs as well. I'll put a link in the chat. So we have a program we're doing in collaboration with the Samaritan Center in Austin for this August, and the applications, or not really just registration, is available for that now. The only thing that's tricky is because it's through a grant. The Samaritan Center got a grant from the Texas Health and Human Services Commission. So the tricky thing is, even though it's on Zoom, it takes place on Zoom, participants have to be from certain geographical region that's based around Austin. So I've put those counties in the chat as well. And so that is a little bit difficult, because I think for folks who are really interested in telling their story through song, which is just this incredible experience. I mean, the experiences I've had with women veterans in a room together, sharing their stories and creating the alchemizing magic of like turning pain into beauty, is like some of the most profound spaces I've ever been in, easily. And so, but I do think it's a specific kind of interest, right? Or pull to do it in that way. And so, yeah, so we're looking for those women who are really interested in that. But like I said, you don't have to have experience as a songwriter at all. And Denise participated with us and wrote an absolutely stunning song about her great grandfather. And so, yeah, she could speak to it as well. But if you have any questions, obviously I'm happy to answer them now. I'll put my email in the chat as well. And you can reach out to me there. And you can listen to songs on link the website I sent. There's like a little sort of PowerPoint that really lays out exactly how the program works. There's also copy that lays that out. There's links to songs that have been written by veterans, and linked to a Facebook page we created that has some video from an event we did with veterans songs. So that's what we're doing, and we'd love help spreading the word.
Yeah.
Yes, I did do Kelley's songwriting, and I have to tell you, I am not a songwriter and I am not a musician and I don't know how to read music. So she really had to hold my hand through it, and she was wonderful. I would recommend that workshop to anybody. And I may actually join it because I'm in Caldwell County for
Oh,
the
great.
upcoming one.
Good.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, as y'all know, in the work that you're doing, when we really get in touch with our stories in a safe way and take ownership of them through a creative process, it's really transformational. And the songs are just really, really stunning. I will say trigger warning, because they deal with everything that they deal with, right? The trauma that these women have experienced. So yeah, just know that when you press play, yeah, it could be triggering.
Kelley, I'm going to share your information about your nonprofit in contact with the person who does my job in the Austin area
Oh, cool.
through the
Yeah.
VA, and they're sort of new to the job, so I'm forgetting their name. But if you hear from someone from the
Yeah,
VA,
great.
yeah,
Wonderful.
thank you.
Thank you.
Kelley, is there an age range for your program?
I would say 18 and up, like definitely should be an adult, but we've had a wide range of age.
Okay. My daughter works with the Travis County Girl Squad, which are underrepresented girls, but I don't know what their age range is, but I'll connect her with you. I think she
Oh, cool.
she
Yeah,
works
so
with a lot of Travis County community organizations with
wonderful.
her work.
Yeah, so the work that I do, not with vets, but with transition age youth. So actually that starts at 14. So that's
Okay.
youth who are transitioning out of systems like CPS and foster care. So I do 14 to 26, but honestly, students stay with me for a few years. So some of my students are, in their early 30s, they become peer support specialists and teaching assistants and that kind of thing. So there's a real fluidity to that age work, in terms of starting at 14 is a good age because you need to sort of have some of those abilities. But we noticed a lot of the grants cut off at 18, and we were really interested in supporting folks who were getting kind of left behind. So
Thank you.
And where are you located at, Kelley?
I'm in Taylor, which is about 45 minutes northeast of Austin. I couldn't afford to move to Austin. But most of my nonprofit work, I do a lot of community and storytelling gatherings as well, but most of my songwriting nonprofit work is in Austin. Yeah.
Well, wonderful. This is lots of good information today. Does anybody have any questions for anybody else, or any other thoughts?
I do want to ask you, can you guys recommend a good publisher of art-related books?
Quite
Anybody?
possibly, Carol. Shoot me a message.
Okay.
And I've got several friends who own small publishing houses.
Wonderful.
That I will ask them for referrals.
Can you put your email in the chat, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
And Kelley,
Carol.
I've got some resources for you as well. So please reach out to me.
Great.
I know several artists in the Houston area that I think would be very interested in volunteering time to assist in programs if you would like to expand here.
Oh, thank you.
Carol, the publisher for Blue Dragons Publishing is a woman veteran, and I think she's on the East Coast, but she may be someone that you might also want to connect with.
Wonderful. Okay, women veteran. I should say I was in the Air Force and I didn't say that. Yeah, I'm a veteran too. Okay. Let's see, Megan.
Betsy,
Yeah.
could you post your email on chat?
Yes, I'll do that right now. Thanks.
It's great to meet you in person, David. Look forward to seeing your photographs and for this exhibit.
Thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to it and being involved in other things as well. And I do other art besides photography, and I paint stones to as encouragement and motivation for other veterans, especially the disabled. And I also do other things as well. I like to write. So I have a lot in common with a lot of you. And it was wonderful today to hear everyone and what they do. So thank you all very much.
Yeah. And we're planning a writing workshop probably in the spring, working with Clayton Bradshaw, who we've worked with in the past, and he does great prose writing workshop, short story, poem type things. So we'll probably be working with him again. We got lots of things we're in the works, we're planning.
Thanks.
This is where we can keep you updated on this meeting once a month, second Tuesday, and then we also have our Women Veteran Strong meeting, which is second Tuesdays as well. It's from 12:30 to 1:30. So today, 12:30 on the Zoom link, different Zoom link, but we'll be on Zoom and we're going to be doing zine making today. We'll be working with like one sheet of paper, folding it up, making a little booklet and drawing on it, writing on it, whatever people want to do. So if you're interested, please come back in an hour.
Sorry, I have to miss it. Darn.
Yeah.
I'm
Next time.
I'm interested in being involved in stuff because I tend to work in isolation as well. And
Yeah.
even though, like, one thing I wanted to say, I mean, I hope I don't sound, like selfish, not, because I would like to get paid.
No, you
You know?
don't.
Oh,
And
okay.
you've done that though. Yeah. That, and people who maybe don't know your history may hear that and think that, but knowing how long you've been, I mean, such a dedicated artist and volunteer, and you're like, yeah, I need the money, and
There's nothing wrong with being paid for your skill set.
Thank you.
As an artist advocate, I say artists should be paid. It's a legit profession and career and call, and you should be paid for what you're worth. Don't let capitalism tell you otherwise.
If you can do something that like less than
Agreed.
1 in 1,000 people can do, you absolutely should be getting paid for it.
Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate the support. Oh gosh, I wanted to say something else. But I don't remember. I have ADHD, so anyway, sorry.
And Dina had to run because she has a 15-year-old dog that's not doing well, so she had to take him to the vet. So yeah,
Baby.
she's been on
Oh,
Watts.
I remembered. Sorry. Those meetings when we meet and we talk, it doesn't even have to be described as therapy, but somehow getting out of the house, and in particular meeting with other veterans, can't help but be therapy. You don't have to announce it as a goal, but you will find it's therapeutic. It's just, anyway, thought I'd clarify that.
Carol, I
Go-
love what you said about you said we're the best healers of each other. that it does, you know, and then Dina said everything doesn't have to be clinical or therapeutic. Sometimes just being is enough. And I would say that that's the heart of the medicine of my story, my song, is just the women veterans in the room. It's a safe space, and that the medicine they are to each other, the stories that they can tell each other. And then, you know, if you can alchemize that pain into art, as we all know, it's like the icing on the cake. But I love what y'all had to say about that today. That really resonates. Thank you.
That gives me the chills. And also, the thing about the grief, I thought was a really great point, whoever said that, because it's like leaving the military is not like leaving a job. It feels more like leaving a family. And there is a real sense of loss, and there just is not that connection elsewhere. You know, you might have a best friend, but to have a whole community that stands in support and that you support is just, I don't know. I guess it's probably what it used to be like when extended family used to live together, you know, but a lot of military, they're away from family, and the military so much becomes family, advisor, mentor, just, you know, connection, what do you call it? Networking, you know, all rolled into one. And to have all that cut out, in my case, it was cut out, and I was in the middle of a desert, you know, in Arizona with a bunch of retired people as a young family with no family around and a brand new baby. I started sleepwalking. It was crazy making. To have that pulled without a replacement. Nobody tells you that, but it's something I think that we continue to long for after we leave. And to have that community we can count on is just magic. It really is.
Can I
Thanks.
say something also, please?
Mhm.
I so agree with Carol. It's a community. It's a trust factor that you never have anywhere else. Um, you know, in my case, and I'm sure in many cases, we trusted our friends, these family members, as with our lives,
Mhm.
very lives. I meant, and there's nothing that we wouldn't do to save one of these people, and so it's so much further reaching than just a family member.
Yes.
Um, it it
You
I
get to pick
I
them
can't
too.
I can't even put it in words. It's so I agree, and it's something that you can never find anywhere else. Sorry.
Not at all.
Right.
And
Yeah.
Carol, much to your point, you know, as much as, you know, we may have other forms of support, we may have, you know, friends or family or therapists, they haven't been through some of the things that we've been through. So there's just this, there's a different understanding of, you know, a situation. Ironically, I wrote a song about this. And I'm actually going to read y'all a couple of lines from it because I think you'll help. I actually wrote this after I got back from seeing a therapist, if that tells you anything. It says, "You'll never understand my pain. You'll say it makes no sense. Drowning every day a little more, but how can I tell you when I cannot confess? Day by day, I go stronger. I can feel it. I can bear it. Even though I'm lost, I'll find my way. I'll find my way out." And it was actually when I got into a veteran support group that I actually started healing. So you have people who are professionally licensed who go through years of training, but they don't understand what we faced. They just don't, they're never going to get it. And so to have other people who, you know, none of our experiences are the same, but we've all been through something difficult. We've all lost somebody we cared about. We've all, you know, struggled, even just the trauma of PCSing. you know, and starting completely over with nobody and no support system and nothing. It's just different.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was beautiful, Megan. Thank
It
you.
was. It was
Yeah.
great.
Thank you.
It was great.
I facilitate a few different groups of people processing trauma, and some of which I share the trauma, some of which I don't. But the image that came to me the other day is that the most powerful medicine comes from the wound. Like the
Mhm.
people who've been through it can heal each other more than maybe a therapist or whatever, you know, and that's what I heard and what you were saying. I have chills. Thank you, Megan. Yeah, that's beautiful.
I wish the VA could get that. Why don't they understand? You know, the other thing I really wish they would do, and I keep asking for, is psychedelic therapy. And it's funny, I was in this veteran conference this past weekend, and I brought it up, and there was like gasps in the room. Like what I was saying was so outrageous, you know? And it's like, well, I researched it. Doctors are researching this. It helps veterans. Why not consider it? Well, it takes a
It's
long time, and
it's being considered, and it's probably coming, like MDMA therapy,
Mhm.
but they are proceeding slowly so they don't make
Absolutely.
mistakes. What is offered at
Mhm.
certain VAs is ketamine assisted therapy, which is a non-traditional psychedelic. So maybe not Texas, but definitely right now for the past few years, there has been that offering. So the VA will get there eventually, but they're looking at it right now. It's being turned over and it's happening. So don't lose faith on that.
I just think it might make all the difference in the world to flip a switch I need flipped. And I hope they get around to it while I'm still alive, because I think it might keep me alive longer. You know, it's like an attitude switch or something that I need to be able to believe in myself. So that's my own personal issue, but thanks for listening.
Thanks for your input.
Yeah, thanks for everybody for being here. Yeah, so we'll get together again next month, and this was a really great meeting. I'm sorry I missed it the past few months, but glad to be back.